If a client has a good relationship with you, they're more likely to use you and trust you. They're more likely to refer you, and they're more likely to use you in the future.
Welcome back to the Full Out Real Estate Agent. Today we're speaking with Jeromy Laporte. So Jeromy works in Fort McMurray in Alberta, and in his second year, he did 94 sales. In his second year to date, he's done 109 sales, and we're not even to the end of this year. He's number three. He looking like number three, maybe even higher than that for EXP across Canada. And he built his business on Google Leads. So we're going to be diving into that. He's just a real hard worker. And get this, he's done all of this with no assistance. So he's doing it all on his own. He has a lot of energy and really looking forward to this conversation. Jeromy, welcome to the call.
Hey, good to be here, Mark.
So Jeromy, we got things up and going. We're ready for the conversation. Why don't you share us, give a little bit about your background of what you did prior to coming into real estate? I know it's quite the story that if you could share with us, that'd be great.
It is. So like, I'll just tell you, basically, I got into, I'm in Fort McMurray. So I was here I moved here in 2001 after graduating, and I've seen the up and down fall of Fort McMurray. It's an oil town, and we've seen it all. We've seen the fire, the flood, everything, right? And then basically in 2012, I was working at Albion. I was working for Shell for one of the major oil companies, and I'd worked my way up in the industry. And then I had a life-changing moment in my life, and I basically got arrested, and I had a choice to make at that very moment. I could go left or right, and the reality is I say everybody in life, doesn't matter. We're all going through something in our life, whether it's a divorce, maybe you got no money in the bank, whatever, you're struggling. You have to make a choice. And I chose to go a different path. And basically it's led me to here. So kind of from there afterwards, I basically started building homes, and I built 70 homes during the wildfire. Was a great accomplishment, great honor to do that for a lot of the families here that lost their home. And then our market has kind of been to a point where it's kind of not where you can make a lot of money building a house, put it that way. So the reality was I chose to become a real estate agent in 2012. I got licensed. I pretty much was a realtor. I got licensed in September, but you do your advertisement and stuff, and you don't really start till January. So this is my third year. And my first year, I was with a different brokerage. When I tallied up my pay stubs, my first year, I did about 270,000 for that year. Last year, I did just shy of 500,000. And I did, like as you said, 94 deals, hit number 4 in Canada throughout all of EXP. And right now, I mean, I'm topping that. I'm at, like, if I didn't do another deal, I'm sitting on like 109 or 110 deals, and that's my third year of real estate. So the question is, how do I do it? Right. So, you know,
Jeromy, it's a phenomenal story, and thanks for sharing that. You could have gone either way when you got arrested that time, and there's something about the underdog story that's so attractive. Like people look at you probably as like, oh, nothing, that he's going nowhere quick, but you used it as an opportunity to really step up. What do you think it was? Because you hear the story of the two twins growing up with the drunken father that beats them both, and one grows up to be super successful and the other one grows up to be, drunk and a failure. And they both use the father as the reason why they were either successful or a failure. What was it for you that made you take the success route from that, we'll say that scenario that you went through, that trial of, getting arrested in that moment? What was it for you that made that decision?
I think the biggest thing for me that made me go down the path that I'm at is I'm super driven. Like, you know what I mean? I have this passion that's burning inside of me that just wants to do better. And I think everybody that needs to find that, I call it the dog, right? We all have the dog in us, but you got to find it. You got to basically be able to, like, when times get tough, that's when I shine, right? So as a realtor, there's never any ideal market. I still haven't found one. I don't know if you know where I'm talking about, but I can't find an ideal condition. So you have to make the condition for you, right? Like, do you want it bad enough? That's the question you have to ask yourself every day. Do you want it bad enough? And what are you willing to sacrifice to get it? Because the sacrifices are what we have to give up to get something else. And looking back at my life, you know what I mean? It's a journey. And I think I'm going to tell you the truth, Mark. I don't regret my past at all. I'm going to tell you the honest to God truth. I don't regret it. I embrace it. And I'll tell you why. You can't let a moment in your life define you. If you do, then you might as well go hide underneath a rock, right? When I look at that moment and I shape from it, it's made me who I am today, right? And I think that everything, whether it's been a breakup in your life, whatever you've been going through, it helps mold you into the individual you are. And it's the real, authentic version of yourself. And that is what shines, right? Make yourself that absolute image that you want to be, and you just need to go get it, right?
That's really good. I think that's so inspiring for people listening, agents listening today that are maybe going through a struggle or a trial right there to say, you know what, no matter what you're facing today, like, tap into that advice that you just gave. I think is very inspiring. And I think if you take that mindset and you take that approach, then you're on the right track 100%. Is there anything else, any other piece of advice for those agents that are they're they're at the bottom right now? They've just like, maybe they're thinking about getting another job, or maybe they're facing financial hardships right now, or maybe they're going through maybe a separation, or maybe there's like a number of things that they're like, man, I'm just at the bottom right now. Is there anything else, a piece of advice that you give them to be able to give them that encouragement to take that next step forward?
Yeah. So, like, the biggest thing is you are so unique. You know what I mean? You don't realize it, but you have a set of skills that you need to tap into. And there's something that I've always thought that, like, we have I don't believe that you're just you wake up and you're more talented than me. I do not believe that. If you look at somebody like Connor McDavid, right? I don't just believe he woke up talented more than anybody else. You know, it was the hard work that he put in, day out before to become the success he is. You see him, maneuvering the puck on the TV for the highlights, putting it in the net, but it took so much to get there, right? The
Mm,
reality is you don't just wake up overnight and become a success story. That's not the average story, right? So
mm.
you need to find within you something that is going to drive you. What do you want? What are you willing to sacrifice in your life to get that goal, to get that? What are you willing to do, right? I mean, I get it. Like, the biggest one I'll tell you is we hold ourselves to a different standard than we hold everyone else to, okay? And what I mean by that is every year on January 1st, we put up our hand and we say, "This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to the gym. We're gonna become successful. I'm gonna work on my business." And the reality is you do that for the first week. You go to the gym, you're working on your business, you're putting in the work, right? Week 2 comes around, and guess what? Life gets busy. It pulls you one way, the kids pull you another, your business is going sideways, and you got 3 dumpster fires, you know, and guess what happened? You lied to yourself.
Mm.
My advice to them right now is this: for 2025 and 2026, I want you to tell yourself the truth. I want you to not lie to yourself, and I want you to start winning today, right? Not tomorrow, today. Then you're going to win tomorrow. Then you're going to win the next day. And you're going to keep winning until winning is not something you aspire to do. Winning becomes who the hell you are. And that's the fire you need to find. So,
Yeah, I love that. And you said a few things that I just really want to underline, that everybody that's listening is unique. There's only one of them. I think that in itself is really important to really reflect and look at, is like, out of the whatever 7 billion plus people on this earth today, there's one of you. And so what is it about yourself that we'll just say is special? And you look deep, and there is only one of you. I think that's like a really good value standpoint that you are valuable and there is only one of you. I think that's awesome. And then the second about working at it every single day and then telling yourself the truth. That's so true, right? That you tell other people the truth, you make commitments and you follow through. It's like, why should you be any different yourself? So so good, and inspiring as well. And you bring a lot of energy to the conversation, and I know people are feeling it out there
I'm
listening.
super high
Uh,
energy, man. I've always been this
yeah,
way, right? So it's
well,
like
and
that's
that's
the
actually one
reality.
of the key traits in salespeople is it's selling is like the transference of enthusiasm. I think. And I think this is one of the main reasons for the agents out there listening is like, why do new agents, when they come on, a lot of them, they just come out and they're just so enthusiastic and energetic. And they have like a really strong start. And then what happens is sometimes obviously isn't the case for you, Jeromy, because you've hit this, we'll say, consistent high volume. But what happens with some agents, they come out high energy and then they get slapped in the face a few times and then they lose the enthusiasm and then their sales start to decline. But just that enthusiasm alone, I think, is like half the battle. So you're setting a good tone on this. So Jeromy, tell us a little bit about how you started. So it's very different than most agents on generating business. Can you share a little bit about how you started and what you're doing to be able to generate leads to convert business?
Yeah, so, like, when I started in real estate, I only do one thing. Like, I'm gonna tell you, Mark, everyone calls me all the time wondering, you know, what the secret sauce is, and I'm just gonna tell you everything I do, and I tell everybody what I do because I can give you the recipe, but you're never gonna create the same taste, okay? Because we're so unique, everyone's different at a certain skill set or trade. So how I built my business when I started was through basically lead generation. I mean, everyone's wondering like, what that is maybe. You don't know, you're a brand new agent. I'm going to tell you. Um, there's different ways to get leads. If you're a brand new agent, you don't have any money, go do open houses, go, door knock. There's certain things you can do if you don't have a lot of money. But once you get into like a certain platform and you're willing to spend back in your business, and I'm a firm believer that you need to spend in your business to get something back. It's not just that you don't coast because coasting is going to go down. Okay. It's never coasting. The way I built my business was from day one, I do Google Leads. So people ask me what that is. It's basically Google will put my website number one over everyone else because I pay them money. Google's in the business of making money, guys. That's the reality. The world is like that. It will put me number one. So let's just use an example. Say I'm an agent in Vancouver. I'm going to type in, I'm a client, and I'm going to type in homes for sale in Vancouver. Google is going to do keywords with me. So I've set these keywords, okay? Homes in Vancouver, condos in Vancouver, whatever keywords you have, it's going to, when you type in those words in Google, it's going to rank you number one. It's going to put your website there. It's going to make it so that a client will click on it because the world is lazy. I'm going to be honest with you right now. That's why Skip the Dishes and DoorDash is so successful. The world is lazy. That's a good thing for me and you. They click on the link, they go to your website. In order for them to see what the pictures are, they have to put their username and password as their name, email, phone number. That's your opportunity right there, guys, to grab that phone number and email. There, you got a mailing list, you got a phone number, right? Now you call them, and now you have to know how to sell yourself. And this is super important right here, Mark. This is the kicker. And this is the key to every successful business. I don't care if you're selling shoes or flipping French fries at McDonald's, okay? The key to business, if you can watch anything in this podcast, is right here. The key to business is relationships. The
Hmm.
house is the byproduct of the relationship, okay?
Hmm.
Why is that super important? If a client has a good relationship with you, they're more likely to use you and trust you. They're more likely to refer you, and they're more likely to use you in the future. That's the three things. That's a very important thing right there. So when I actually call my clients, okay, I have a system, couple systems, like I'll use Follow Up Boss, which is a great tool that I think a lot of agents use. It's connected to your CRM. your website that and it's gonna build your database. So I have about 6,000 people in my database, okay? And then you call them, and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, Mark, my name's Jeremy. You signed up to my website. I'm wondering if you're looking for anything in particular." We might talk for a bit. He'll tell me what the most common thing you'll hear is, "I'm just browsing," right? That's the most common thing right there. Hey, Mark, I get your browsing and it's super important to understand the market you're in. But let me ask you one question before I let you go, Mark. What are you thinking about in particular? How many bedrooms are you looking for? Right? You're gonna tell me. Are you looking for a house, condo, a townhome? Right? That's
Mm.
what's gonna happen. What I've done is converted you, so you're now going to tell me information. Okay. Now, you're not going to win all the time, but it's important because guess what? The more information I get from you, the more I can understand you, the more I can build that relationship. I'm going to learn. Maybe you're a Edmonton Oilers fan, or maybe you're a Canucks fan, and we're going to talk about, the Edmonton Oilers and how they need goaltending, and we're going to not just talk real estate. Why do I do that? It's because I'm not going to build a relationship talking real estate. Real estate can be boring, okay? The only way you're gonna connect to an individual is if you get to know them on a personal level. How many kids do they got? Do they got a dog? Any information I can get. And then if you say, "Hey, Jeremy, I'm going on vacation. I'm going to Mexico next week. Why don't we touch base maybe in a couple weeks?" I'm gonna set up that follow-up call with you, and then when I call you back in a couple weeks, guess what, Mark? "Hey, Mark, it's Jeremy. I had a follow-up with you, man. How was your trip to Mexico?" Biggest question I got, man, is how's the food? That's the big thing for me, right, when I travel. I'm gonna talk to you about a couple minutes about that, and why am I doing that? Because I am building the relationship. I am not selling you a house. After that, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, well, listen, while I got you on the phone here, after I've learned about your trip, you still kinda interested in a house, you and Mark? Are you and the wife kinda thinking about a home still? Like, maybe I could send you a list so we can head out this weekend." It's so small about talking about the house, it's about everything else that matters. It's all
Mm.
the little things that matter. So, that's kinda my system, going from there and just working the client afterwards constantly, right? Follow-up is key, right? So
Yeah, thank you for describing that so clearly for the listeners. That's very helpful. It gives them a really good picture of it. Now, so that you can give the listeners context on how hard you really work at this. So when you started, when you were following up and having these conversations, getting off the ground, how many conversations a day approximately were you having to be able to get the rocket ship off the ground?
I think it varies by individual, and I mean, I know every agent watching this right
Yeah.
now, we all have different schedules and stuff, and I understand, like, you might be thriving to do 20, 30 deals a year, that might be your goal, and this is what I say to everybody, it's whatever you can handle, right? So, like, you gotta block it in your day to figure out when you're gonna do this because you're also gonna get in the zone, right? So, focus your wherever your focus goes is where your energy goes. So, you wanna make sure that dedication time, but I would say I would take about an hour to an hour and a half a day, 2 hours at the most days, depending on my schedule too. But what I'm telling I'd call anywhere between 20 to 50. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And so I think that that's gonna vary by individual. I think it's gonna vary what they can handle and where they're at in their life. I mean, some people are comfortable doing 10, 15 deals a year, right? Others want to achieve greater things, and it really depends on the individual, but that's where I was kinda at, right?
yeah. And I think that's really important to understand is that all sales start with real conversations with real people, right? Not through texting back and forth. Eventually, you have to get on the phone and have a meaningful conversation, like you had mentioned, to build the relationship because people will work with other people they trust. And unless you can actually have a real conversation where you can connect at a deeper level, it's hard to do. Right.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so I think if you do have a higher goal, you nailed it. It's like that's what you did to be able to get it off the ground, the 20 to 50. But if you're only having like 5 conversations or
Yeah,
two
yeah.
conversations a day when you're tracking it, it's like, and you're not successful. That is the main reason. If you were to boil down from what I've found, if you're not doing sales, you're just not having enough conversations. And so, PPC Google is a method to be able to attract conversations to happen, but eventually you have to pick up the phone. So it could be open houses, could whatever it is for you, but ultimately you got to have that conversation. And so you took massive action, and I mean, look at the start that you had. I mean, it's not a surprise, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that, like, literally I think that people need to realize, like, you're in a business of selling yourself, right? So that's the reality. Like, if there's one skill set that you should really learn if you're a real estate agent, it's learning how to sell yourself. Like, we can sell a house. I'm really the type of person that I'll show my clients like 50 homes before they'll buy one, and that's okay with me. Um, but, like, if you learn the skill of sales, it doesn't matter what you're selling, right? And that's the great part. Like, I could go from this business. Remember, I sold myself to 70 homeowners, and I had only built 3 homes before that. I just wanna tell you that. Like, I only built 3 homes before building 70. How did I sell myself to 70 people, right? It's not my good looks, I'll tell you that much. I'm not the tallest person, I'm only 5'7", and I'm definitely not the strongest person, but I will outwork you. Like, that's the
Mm.
reality. I will put the work in, and I will eventually, over time, surpass you, right? Because this is not it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, right? So, you just gotta find that pace, that to find where you're happy, and I think that it takes a bit to get that there. Now, recently, I've changed a few things in my business, obviously, because I'm at 100 and plus deals. So I've changed a few things to mentally be able to capacitate more, right? So, but you get there. It takes time to get there.
What are some of those things that you've implemented now that you're starting to scale? You're doing more sales, and so you've obviously you have to figure out how to do more in less time, right? So you start to learn some shortcuts. It reminds me when I first started. I When I was negotiating a deal, I'd drive to the office and I'd kind of sit there and wait until the agent would come back, and then I got to a point where I was like negotiating, 6, 7, 8 offers, and I would go home for dinner and have a nice relaxing time and go back out after, and I still still be going, right? But you kind of learn it as you go. For you, now that you've done, I mean, 100 deals multiple years in a row now, what are some of those shortcuts that you figured out to allow you to be more productive?
Like, there's no real shortcut to success. I'm gonna tell you the truth. There is no $997 AI hack that you're gonna find that's gonna make your life super easy. It's gonna tweak things. I mean, ChatGPT is great for certain stuff, but, like, there is no shortcut to success. I think that the reality of this is nothing beats putting in the hard work every day. The few
Mm,
things that I've tweaked, I have an assistant that takes care of the fin track, the back end. We use SkySlope at EXP, so that assistant. I still write my own offers. I think that's super important, you know what I mean? Like, I am hands-on. I do all the showings myself. I do all the home inspections myself. There's no one that does anything for me. Why do I do that? Like, it comes back to what I resonate. It's you can't build a relationship if you're passing off everything to somebody else, right? So, I am the only person the client talks to. That my assistant, Marlene, she's great, but, I don't she doesn't talk to my clients, right?
yeah,
And
right.
that's the reality of it. There's no real shortcuts. I say I've tweaked a few things, you know what I mean? I've gotten a sales associate now for my outside sales that's making the calls for me. It took 3 years before I gave that to somebody, right? That I
Mm,
could trust enough to make the calls, right? And it's also a huge financial burden. So you're trading time for money, right? And you need to figure out if that's something that you can handle yet. As you're scaling upwards, I think that your budgets are going to go up, your spending is going to go up, but you're also having to try to find that fine balance, right?
mm,
um and I'm going to tell you the truth of right now. Like, I right to this day, like, I've closed 100, but, like, there's 109 in the pipeline that haven't actually, like, they haven't moved in yet. That the waivers are done, but they haven't moved in. um the biggest thing is like, if I after you get to that type of that many deals, the biggest contributing factor is just trying to find, like, a life out of it, right? It's going to take a lot out of you. So I think that Agents need to realize what they can handle and what they can't. Now, and find what you're really good at. That's the key right there, guys. Like, you might not be good at talking to people on the phone. You might be good face to face with them, but you might not be good talking on the phone with them. So, like, I always say, talking to them like in a different manner, maybe you're face to face, like you can relate to them better. Maybe the person's an introvert and you just need to figure out how you can relate to them. Um, just find what you're good at. You know what I mean? That's the key. Find what you're really good at and grow from there.
Amazing. Jeremy, okay, so let's in the from a process standpoint, you're speaking with the lead, you build a relationship. I love that. So good. And you're connecting with them, you're building relatability. How's the trip going? Kids' names, like you're connecting. Love it. Food. I mean, if you said that to me, I'd be all over that. It was one of my favorite things from traveling. It's like, how was the food? Tell me about the
Food, yeah,
food, right?
yeah, 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 yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
huge foodie, and that doing the whole like wine tastings with food and pairings at restaurants. Anyways, I'm kind of digressing a bit, but you go ahead and book an appointment. So there's the buyer side and then there's the listing side. What's your process? Let's say, can you maybe take us through on the buying side and then the listing side? Do you have a set listing and buyer presentation? Do you meet them at the property? Can you walk us through what your process is to be able to convert them to an
Sure.
actual
We'll
signed
do
client?
listings first. So like right now, I think I have about 17 listings. Okay. Somewhere around there. I have 2 more going up this week, and then so what'll happen is I always say, "Hey, when's a good time for me to pop in?" Right? So, I even talked to a lady this morning that's more thinking about the spring. So what I do is I set up the follow-up call again. It's all about the follow-up, guys. But once I schedule the appointment, I'll make sure I can go over there. You always wanna see the house, get a feel for it. Then I go back, I say, "Look, I'm gonna go back, do my CMA for you. I'm gonna get it for you probably by tomorrow. I'm gonna do a comparable with the last, depending on your market, obviously, but for me, I like to do 6 months or depending a year, depending on what the property is, and, compare it. And then I'll either call them on the phone or present it back to them depending on our schedules. I'll email them a copy, and then I always give them within a $20,000 range personally, and I say, "Look, I'm more than willing to go up a little bit more for you. I want you to get the top value for your home." But then I'll always basically say, "This is my ideal spot." So if let's make a deal right now. If we go to that higher, like, price point, say it's 599, but I think the house should be listed at 540 or 90. I'm gonna say, "Look, I'll go 599 for you, but let's make a deal right now. If we don't get any showings within the first couple weeks, we reduce the price," right? And then from there, the other thing too is, like, I have a 6,000 person database, right? I use this scales tactics basically where I say, "Look, of the 6,000 people, I have 200 active users, and literally maybe 40 or 50 of them are looking for a home just like yours. I'm gonna email them as soon as I put your listing up." Do you know what I mean? So they're gonna kinda look at that and be like, "Wow, that's nice," right? Um, and then that's kinda how I do it with the listing side. Um then for the sale, like, when I'm meeting a buyer, and I'll tell you right now, like, if you're a new agent, you just started, you're gonna get way more buyers than you are sellers. It's just the reality of the business. You're gonna start with buyers, and you're gonna work your way up, and then eventually, some of those buyers are gonna turn to sellers, and if you built that relationship properly, they're going to come back to you, right? And then you get the referrals. So, it took me literally actively now 3 years in the industry. It's taken me almost 3 years to start seeing that organic business coming in, right? So but for buyers, I always like to, I'll send them a list, meet them at a property, whatever it is, get them out in the field, get their feet wet so they know what they want and don't want. Mark, you know that pictures are deceiving. We use wide angle lenses. They're super deceiving for people. Really, you just wanna get their feet wet, and then that way they can feel like if they want something or don't want something, you know what they like. From there, we move forward, and then I'll zone them in, and it all depends too on their buy time, like, when are they looking to move in here? Like, I have clients that I talk to on a regular basis, and I'm gonna tell you this, with online leads, you gotta work them sometimes, and there's a lot of garbage leads too, right? But It's the follow-up. So, like, I might have a buyer that's not just saving for his down payment that wants to buy in spring. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
take him out in November if he's looking to buy in spring. What's the point, right? Like, what are we gaining by showing you properties now? I'd like to show you properties you could potentially buy. I don't want you to fall for something that you can't get, right? But it's really I'll always take them out a couple times, get their feet wet before I always say this, like, first couple are on me, guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's go look, right? And then kind of work it from there. So,
So one point of interest here, it was all really good. You had said, "Let's do a deal now. Let's agree on a price change." 2 weeks down the road, if we're not getting activity, I think that is something that a lot of agents will maybe they'll just overlook. They'll list it at a higher point, but instead of getting that pre-agreement at that listing appointment, I think that is really great insight to be able to have that conversation up front. So 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the road, there's no action. They know it's coming, right? Because they pre-agreed on it. That's good.
yeah. And, another thing, a tip I actually got with just to finish your point there, like, they actually, one of the old time realtors said, Jeremy, like, buyers or sellers are connected to their home emotionally, right? They think it's worth more sometimes than what you think. You're not emotionally invested in that home. Get them to sign that amendment right away. So there's no
Mm,
disputing it 2 weeks later
yeah.
because then you already have it, right? And they're always going to say, well, let's just wait a little bit longer or something. But if you have it signed, hey, we're reducing the price. You've already signed it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. And I think it's really important for the agents listening is like price changes are actually like price improvements, we call them. They're actually in the client's best interest because if say they're on the market 30, 60 days go on, they're going to be chasing the market because buyers ask two questions when they walk through. I mean, Jeremy, you know this. They'll ask what's the price? And then the second question is how long has it been on the market? And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
if right? And so if you can get ahead of that, you basically get ahead of the market and instead of chasing it. And so the price improvement is actually a very good thing for clients because they're hiring you not to be their best friend. They're hiring you to help them sell the house and to get the maximum price. And the best way to do that is to get the listing price more in line to be able to attract offers, which listing price is not the selling price. Two different things. The listing price is a marketing. It's a way to market to attract offers. The selling price is what's most important. So what does it matter if we're listed high
Mhm.
and we negotiate way low? Why don't we just change it and prove it to a better price and just negotiate less? So
Two
um,
things, Mark. You said, like, I'll tell you one thing.
yeah,
Buyers always want to feel like they're getting a deal. I mean, we're all guilty of it. We go buy a
yeah,
vehicle, we want to feel like we're winning, right? So you'll negotiate the price of the vehicle, and then right before it closes, you're going to say, "I want the mats thrown in too." Right? We're all guilty of it. I'm sure you've done the same thing. The thing is, the buyer always wants to feel like they're winning. Remember that. So just see, like, that's what I tell my sellers. Like, don't worry. Everyone wants to win. Here's our goal. We're problem solvers, buddy. If you're a buying agent and I'm a selling agent, you're trying to solve the problem for your buyers that they want to purchase a house. My problem solving is my seller wants to sell a house, and I'm trying to solve that problem for them. So we're working together. People, remember this: agents don't get an ego. We're all working together for the same task, right? And I think that that's pretty important to understand. Like, if you can put your ego at the door, we're just trying to solve the same thing for each other. We're doing one big goal, right? So,
that's good, Jeremy. I think that note about working together with other realtors, making it win-win and negotiate. Can you talk a little bit about the negotiation when it comes to you're representing the buyer or the seller? Do you have any advice for agents? It was really good. Like, don't let ego get in the way. That's really good. Is there anything else that helps you pull deals together when maybe other agents wouldn't be able to do it from a negotiation standpoint?
look, there's one thing I tell everybody. There's two things that sell the house, right? One is the right client and the right price. That's the two things. There's no secret to it. That's the two things. But when I say this to clients, it's not my money, right? So I'll always bring an offer. However, it's not my money on the selling side, right? Like, someone's either losing money, right? Or they don't want to give up that money. So I think that the biggest thing for negotiations is we don't sweat the small stuff, okay?
Mm,
When we do a home inspection, we only have so much, I call it negotiation dust, right? I can only negotiate so much of the items you might want off your home inspection. So let's use it wisely. Like if you're sitting here telling me, and I mean, it's different for everybody, but let's just use this as an example. There's like a reverse polarity on a plug. It's just 2 wires need to be flipped around, right? Do you really wanna use some of your dust on that, or would you rather use it on a 25-year-old hot water tank, right? Like, what makes more sense here, right? Like, something that could be done in 2 minutes or something that's a big ticket item? So that's one thing I try to prep the buyers for, because I mean, I think it's important for you to educate the buyers when you're doing the home inspection. That helps the negotiation. Um, and the sellers, I prep them too, but the biggest tactic I say for negotiation, it doesn't matter, like, it's just it all comes down to this, buddy. We're representing our buyer or our seller to the best of our ability, right? And you're working for them. So I think it's really their decision. I can always give them my 2 cents, but I can only stretch it so much, right?
mm.
So there's no real secret to it. It's just be in tune with what you're doing, understanding the shortfall if there is one, understanding the reciprocating costs of the legal fees, everything, so that your clients can make the proper decision at the end of this. So they know exactly what they're getting themselves into. I don't think that there's a real big, like, huge negotiation thing. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I'll say, right?
Well, I think some of the advice that you gave there to me, this is like signs of a top producer. So one of the things you had mentioned was prepping the client ahead of time. If so, we got to remember that we're in the business all the time. We see things where buyers they don't buy homes every day, and so for example, the home inspection it was great. You said like we should prep them that you got there's always going to be things coming up, and it's interesting, Jeremy, because I've never even after buying a brand new home and doing like the PDI, the pre delivery inspection, I had a whole binder of things that were off on that brand new home. I've never once out of the thousands of inspections that I've seen or been on myself through our entire team. I've never once seen an inspection where there was nothing. It was like where the inspector comes back and
No,
says,
it's always gonna there's always something, yeah, you know what
oh
I
oh,
mean?
yeah, it's like, it's perfect. There's nothing to be done here. It's like, I've never
There's
seen
always
it,
gonna
and
be,
so unless
yeah.
you give context to the buyer and saying, "Hey, listen, there's always stuff that comes up, and, here are some of the things that, potentially, but we're looking for major structural, that's more of the things that we gotta look for," then that gives them peace of mind, I think, and unless you have an agent that's guiding them, then, the slightest things like reverse polarity, for example, in an outlet, that can freak them out. It's like the house is gonna burn down if they don't have context. That's why
Mhm,
having a
mhm.
strong guide that's like prepping them ahead of time, it helps save deals. And, obviously that's a big part of negotiation, right?
It does, and I'll tell you something too, it's like, your job is to, like, obviously get the deal done because you gotta remember your client wants the home, right? Like, I always say never, like, over, push them, never oversell them, but make them feel comfortable, right? So, like, reverse polarity, something simple, not very expensive to fix if they didn't have to do it, but it's not like a major life-threatening item, I guess,
Right.
right? So,
Yeah.
just prepping them, understanding it, make them not freak out, walking them through the process, that's a huge thing, and I think the more you make your clients feel comfortable, it just makes the process go easy. You don't want this to be stressful for anybody, right? Like, take your time, do your job. You got one job to do, and that's, you know, do the right thing here. Like, I'll walk from a deal from a bad inspection if the client doesn't want it. Like, that's totally fine with me, brother. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with that. I want my clients to get what they love, right? And if they don't love it after, that's cool. Let's go to the next one. I've done 4 home inspections with one client. I'm okay with that, bro. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Um, it's not like it's not really like in this game, if you don't think about the paycheck, I want to be clear with this. If you're not thinking about the money, then don't. Because if you're really good at something, over time, it's impossible not to make good money because people are gonna gravitate to you, right? Like, they want what you offer. So you have to show value as a realtor. What makes you different than every other realtor, right? What makes you unique, right? Find that, fine tune on it, and guess what? People will gravitate to you because you're good at it, not because you literally are thinking about the paycheck all the time. Because it's money is a byproduct of what we do, right? So,
Yeah, 100% agree. Jeremy, when you're servicing clients, is there anything that you do that is a little bit different or like a wow or something where you get really good feedback from either buyers or sellers that you're working with from a service delivery standpoint?
I mean, that I do really good, you mean?
Yeah, like, is there anything along the way where it's like, okay, when I deliver this, it could be communication, it could be the way that you do it, it could be the way that you market your listings, or the way that even after the sale, events or gifts, or it's like when I do this, it's like this is something where I'm getting really good feedback from my clients on.
Like, I think the communication part, right? That's like I'm huge on communication. I think that's super important. I mean, you can probably talk to a bunch of my clients. They probably feel like I've been their psychiatrist sometimes, right? Like, walking them through the process and so they understand absolutely everything is super important, I think. But even from there, I think, you know, having some home building background, you know what I mean? Like during the wildfire, even before then I was building houses, like I understand a house super well. It's kind of when I got into real estate. I still always say, "Hey, I don't think it's a big issue, but we'll check with the home inspector." I don't want to I want to make sure the liability is not on me and that they're doing this with the home inspector. I can always give my 2 cents, but I keep it on a very like, you know, inspection. They're qualified, they're licensed. Ask them the questions, right? Um, but though the skill set that I'm really good at, I guess, is for the clients is communication, but I'm really good at being me, brother. I know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but I am me, and that's the thing I think that every realtor needs to figure out is be a genuine version of you. There's no
Mm.
bullshit with me. I am straight up and I'll talk to anybody, right? Like if you're an introvert, I can make you feel comfortable, right? We can talk about anything. There's nothing that's off limits to me. I'm an open book. I've got nothing to hide, right? Like it's kind of like that whole Eminem thing. If I tell you everything wrong about me, what are you going to say bad about me now, bro? Right? And so my clients know me. They know me wholeheartedly. They know I'm good for them. They know my best interests are at heart. They know we'll walk if the deal is not for them. That's the thing. It's like, I'm not doing it for the paycheck. The difference between me and you is I love the game. I love the game, bro. That's why I do this. You know what I mean? How do you beat somebody that won't stop or give up? That's the question, right? So that's the thing.
How about are there any daily habits or routines that you do that is like, this is a big part of my success, or you started doing since you've been selling this many homes? Is there anything you do consistently every day that really helps you?
It's a great question, bro. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you that the two major things in my life has changed in the last little while. And I mean, we talked a little bit, Mark, before it, but Dan Martell, he's the man. If you guys get a chance and if you haven't looked him up, go to his Instagram. The guy is a beast. He's all about systems and stuff. And um, I quit drinking a year and a half ago, almost now. And I took it out of my life because it's not something that contributed to my success. Right. So I'm super happy. I feel better. And then the second thing is I go to the gym every day. Um, I go to the gym. I'm wired a little bit differently. You got to be a little bit messed up like me to do what I do. And I go to the gym at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and I'm done by midnight. And then I, have my snack and go to bed. But those two things have been a huge success for me, right? Like, I mean, some people might say, "Hey, like I don't have a drinking problem." I never did, but say you're like drinking 1, 2 drinks a night. That's okay. If you're happy with your life doing that, I'm happy for you, right? I just didn't need it in my life. I wanted something greater, right?
Mm.
And then the gym has got me to where my mindset is just like I'm on a go, go, go. And I'm high level, high strung, and I'm able to like wind down. And people say, why do you go to the gym so late? Because my phone's not ringing. You know what I mean? Like since I've been in this meeting with you, bro, like my phone's been going off. But like the reality is like you will never get me on the phone. Like it's very rare that you call me and I won't pick up like that because we have one job. It's like to be there for our clients. Right. So I think that that's important too. Right. So, you know,
Yeah, that's really good. I love it, and I love your conviction with it as well. And obviously, when it comes down to enthusiasm and energy, going to the gym and showing up is a big part of that. So, so important, so good. Uh, Success, if you don't have your health along the way, I mean, you can get there, and it's interesting. I've heard it once said that when you're healthy, you have many goals, you have many wishes, and if you're not healthy, you only have one, and that's to be healthy, right? And so there's a lot of people that spend their whole life trying to get financial wealth, and then they'll use all their financial wealth to buy back their health. So better take the vitamin than take the surgery type thing after, right? So an ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure type thing. So great advice. All right. So, last question before we get into our final rapid fire here, Jeromy. This has been a great conversation. When it comes to investing, what investing advice are you giving to your clients right now when it comes to investing in real estate? I'm a huge advocate of investing in real estate. What advice would you have for your clients? And then maybe you can communicate that as to how that would relate to agents out there that are looking to invest in real estate as well.
great question. And I'll tell you why. I currently own 12 rental properties. Okay. And I'm currently building a apartment building in Edmonton in Glenora. So I signed up for the CMHC 50-year mortgage. I mean, that's something that's here offered in Canada that, they're trying to get more multifamily. So I signed a $10.4 million loan with ATB. So if it fails, I hope you have a nice couch, Mark, because I might need to sleep on it. But the biggest thing is I live by it. So like I own rentals. I'm currently building an apartment building with some partners and I manage them all myself. They're going to be rentals in Edmonton too, but the biggest advice I can say in real estate if you're looking to get into it is get into it. But find the right market. That's the
Mm.
key, right? Like this real estate is no different than the stock market. Okay? So like it goes up and down and it has trends and you can watch those trends. My advice is reach out to a realtor in a local area that you're looking to potentially invest in. Maybe get in a hindsight of how the rental market is for rental value. So like what am I getting for rent if I buy it for this? Am I going to be in a positive cash flow? And I think that that's important. Um, and that's what I would suggest if they're looking to get in the rental game, right? Like just find the right person. Let the realtor do the work for you. You pay us, you don't pay us, but the sellers do, but for a reason. We're working for you, right? So
Jeromy, why you're obviously a huge advocate of real estate. What's your biggest thing that you love about real estate as to why you're so big into it from an investing standpoint?
it's kind of crazy because like I never thought I would be so deep into real estate, but like it's maybe because I saw a house getting built from the ground up and doing it. But, like, the bottom line is like, when COVID happened, I said everyone needed to live somewhere, right? That was the one thing. Stock market was crashing, but everyone had to stay home, and that's kinda what I did, right? Like, I was like, "Let's get into real estate. I'm gonna buy real estate." The banks were giving it away, so I bought some foreclosures, but, like, I think I'm a huge advocate because I eat, breathe it, and I sell it, and what made me get into this was because I understood it so well, right? Like you stick with what you know. Like if you're a mechanic, right? Like I wouldn't tell you to go become a doctor, right? Like,
Yeah.
you have a skill set for a reason. You're good at something for a reason. And I'm good at something and I'm good at sales, right? So like I'm good at sales. So like it kind of fell in place with the real estate. And it's just the Tetris blocks fell in place for me, man. um, I don't believe that this was just, you know, some magical wand got waved and I ended up in this. I think I did it. It happened for a reason. I believe in a higher power put me here, right? And Bro, nothing makes me more happy than literally seeing a family move into a house for the first time, and then, it's just like, that's a great feeling, bro. Like, when you
Yeah,
actually do that and you can do that, people it makes me happy. I mean, I'm not even thinking about the paycheck, that's the byproduct of this. If you do something because you love it and you're passionate about it and you feel it, that's the key, bro. That's the key, right?
so good. Jeremy, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, real estate. It's the number one regret I hear from real estate agents. Oh, I wish I would have bought more real estate 10 years ago. It's like, well, you can buy more today, and 10 years from now, you'll be looking back saying, "Oh, I'm glad that I did." So very good. All right. Well, we have three last questions, rapid fire here, Jeremy, and we're going to wrap
Sure,
up. You
buddy.
ready? All
Yeah,
right.
give it.
First question. I'm a big reader. I love reading books. Curious for you, which book has had the biggest impact in your career?
See, this is a big thing, man. I'm not a huge book person, but if there's one book that, this sounds really weird, man, but was geez, James and the Giant Peach. I don't know if you remember that book. It was written when I was a kid, but I read that book, and I think that that book kind of made me understand my brain a little bit more. And it's not really the actual content. It's like the dedication it took me as a young kid to read that book. Right. I remember sitting in the closet in the dark with a flashlight because it was my space, and I read that entire book. Um, why does that mean a lot? Because it was about finishing something, right? So in the as humans, one thing we're terrible at doing, we talked about this earlier, Mark, is finishing something. We're great at starting something. We get this undivided like gratitude in starting something new, but we just don't finish it. Why?
Mm,
Because we're scared it's not perfect. You're never gonna see the results of something if you don't just put it out there, right? Even
yeah.
if it's not good, if it sucks. It made me learn, like, just get it done, right? And that's meaningful to me, you know?
No, that's. Thanks for sharing that. I love how you connected that together with finishing something. That's really good. That's a good lesson to get when you're young like that too. Very good. All right. So, three questions or three words that best describe you. That people know you best. How would they best describe you in three words?
3 words that I see myself, I'd say. I don't know how people resonate me, because 'cause I'll be honest with you, um, you're gonna create a lot of enemies in this game, and that's okay. But for me, one is, you know, I am super loyal. I'll tell you that right now. That's one with me. I work with a small group of people, and I'm very loyal to them. Number 2 would be, another word for me is, um, I'm dedicated, bro. Like, it's the dedication of every single day doing the same thing that sucks. I want you to embrace the suck, because that's the things that matter, right? It's going to be the difference between the average and ordinary and those that dominate. And that's the third word right there, bro. I'll dominate you. No matter what position you put me in, I will always swing the bat more than anybody, and I will dominate it eventually. It might not be today, but over time, I will dominate it.
Yeah, very good. And final question for you, Jeremy, today. What final advice would you have for the agents that are listening today?
I'm gonna end this with this. Never give up. Never quit. Quitting is not an option. So you need to figure out what you're going to do to become successful. And you got to figure out what you love. It's not what I love. It's not what anybody else loves. It's what you truly love. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Some realtors aren't cut out to be realtors, and that's okay. That's okay. It might take you 40 years to figure out what you're good at, but you need to figure out what you truly have the passion and desire to do. And that is the key right there.
Jeremy, if we'll say a potential agent has a potential referral for you, whether they're buying or selling in the Fort McMurray area, what's the best way they could reach out and connect with you to send along that referral?
The bottom line is, it's my Instagram, Jeromy Laporte, Jeromy. My parents spelt me a little bit different, Laporte. Facebook, same thing. And then, or just reach out. You know what I mean? You can look me up. I'm everywhere. So just type it in Google, Jeromy Laporte, EXP, call me, and we can connect. Love talking to other agents, seeing what they're doing, how they're growing, because there's so much growth in this industry. We can all learn from each other. Remember that. I love it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, this is a great conversation, Jeromy. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
thanks, man. It was a pleasure.
Right on. And thank you everyone for listening today. If you liked it, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel or share it with another real estate agent you think will benefit from it. I love you guys and keep on going full out.